All right, sweet. So I'm recording. Hello. And do you want to say hello to our fine
Yes,
viewers?
hello.
What's your name?
My name is Levent.
Nevint.
Yes,
Really nice to meet you, Levint. And I am super excited to walk you through. And where are you located? You told me, but
I am located in Los Angeles.
all right. So this is Levint from Los Angeles, and he wants to know how to get into the event. So we are going to uh, explain that to everybody right now. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here on the other side, and you'll be able to see that. So your first question might be, Levin, can you see my screen?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see the event platform, right?
Okay.
Like the way that you got into the session, you can see the thing that says Spinnaker Summit and everything.
Yeah, everything's okay.
Okay, sweet. All right. So here I am in and it just looks weird to me because it doesn't, I guess that's like Google that does like the little box around the stuff when you are, so this is why my recordings are bad because I don't, I get distracted while I'm trying to talk. Okay, so let me show you around here. So first of all, I'm in the event platform, and some of you might be trying to get into this session right now, and you're like, "Where's the platform? What's going on?" So first of all, 11, did you get an email from the platform today letting you know, like, "Welcome to the event, and this is how you get in," with a link?
Yes, exactly. I am following the email.
Awesome. So 11 is on track, following the email, getting in. Let's say you can't find that email. It's not the end of the world. There's another way to get into the platform, I think. So I have created a short link at go.armory.io. And if you want to get into our garden, where we are going to do all of our gardening, just type go.armory.io/summit-garden. And I'll put that link in. I already put that link in Slack, but I'll do it again. And that will take you to that'll take you to a totally different page. Go.armory. See, this is why I got to do my dry run. Summit-garden. That should take us to the spot. Yeah, yep. There we go. Second time's the charm. All right, and then you enter the event. This is what Levin did to get here. And then if you want to get into a meeting like this, so let's say you've taken a look at the Spinnaker Summit. I swear this is going to get more interesting in a minute, Levin, but bear with me here for like the
Okay.
basics to help people understand how to access the event. So let's say that you took a look at the schedule and you found an event that you want to join. Let's say the Kickoff tomorrow, or maybe the Spinnaker Conformance Certification Program Kickoff that's happening later in the week. The way that you get into that is by going to that go.armory.io/summit-garden or clicking the link in your email, and then click on join video for main space after you're logged in, and that will take you into a Zoom session just like this one. So
Yeah, perfect.
that's kind of the basics and how to get in. Let's move on to something more exciting. So I want to show you, before we even dig into the platform and what it's all about, I want to show you a bunch of stuff in our gardening repository. So if you go to github.com/spinnaker-gardening, spinnaker-hackathon/gardening, that will take you into a wealth of information about this event and what it's all about. And this has kind of evolved over time. So of course, your first step, if you happen to be coming across this event, but you haven't actually registered for it, your first step is definitely to register, because that's going to get you into the team matching process and all the other sweet stuff like sending you prizes, sending you swag. This is the first step. So go ahead and register with our friends at the Linux Foundation, and Levin's already done that. So I won't belabor it. The next thing that you can do is perhaps check out this Getting Started guide, and that's going to talk us through all the different steps that you need to make sure that you do to get the most out of this event and participate. So the first step, you definitely want to join Spinnaker Slack. Levin, are you on Spinnaker Slack?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and many people who are engaged in this event are probably already on Spinnaker Slack. That's great. You don't need to do anything extra. Just be there and open up your Spinnaker Slack. And then you'll want to enter into the Slack workspace and go into the gardening general channel. So I can show that now. Minimize this a little bit. Hopefully I don't have anything creepy happening behind the scenes on my computer. No, it doesn't look like it. So I'm going to do a test message here. I'm in the gardening general channel, which is linked like everywhere in this documentation. And I'm going to say, hi, I'm Rosalind, and I am here to organize the event. And I want you to jump into the channel and introduce yourself with why you are here so that folks can start getting to know you and understand why you're here and what drives you to join such an interesting thing as this hackathon. Wink. All right. And once you've done that, you're good. Now, the next thing that you need to do, you probably will want to be added to the leaderboard for this event, which I am very excited about. So we have a leaderboard for this event, and the leaderboard is located at, there's a short link for this as well. So let's see. Leaderboard to the event is go.armory.io/contributors. So I can just show you that that actually works. Go.armory.io/contributors. That's going to take me to this fun Google Sheet. And this Google Sheet is using a little bit of like basic wizardry that is actually documented here in the repository. If you want to know more about like how our leaderboard does what it does and what we're counting and all of that, go to the points file, or you can click on judging points eligibility and tracking here. And it will tell you all kinds of good stuff about how the points are being tracked. So for example, your GitHub event contributions are being tracked on this leaderboard. So that's this section right here. GitHub event contributions, all of this stuff. So pull request creation, committing, issues, comments on issues, and comments on pull requests. All of that stuff in Spinnaker repositories and Spinnaker hackathon repositories is being counted all month long. And that's all going to end up here in GitHub event contributions once you're added to the leaderboard. And Levin, can you actually, would you mind going to go.armory.io/contributors and typing in your first and last name here in the namespace, and then typing in your GitHub handle in the handle space, and then that will help us get you added to the event.
Okay, I'm doing now.
More on that later. So you probably want to be added to this leaderboard. So other stuff that's being tracked on here, and we'll talk about this more in a little bit, is content contributions. This hackathon, I'm excited to announce that we have a nifty, mostly automated way to count content contributions, or at least track them in Slack and have that show up on our leaderboard. Hi, Abhishek. Thank you so much for joining. I'm already running through the walkthrough of all the session materials now. This is being recorded, so just so you know, you're on recording, and we're going to share this with all the participants, including yourself, so that you can watch the beginning of the thing. We might end up with extra time at the end, so I can run through some of the stuff that you missed at the beginning, which is all pretty basic stuff, so you're probably fine. But right now, I am in the gardening repository. So the gardening repository is at github.com/spinnaker-hackathon/gardening. And I'm looking at some stuff about points tracking and all that good stuff. And I think you might have, well, actually, I don't know which Abhishek you are. So maybe I've met you before, maybe I have not. Feel free to correct me if you want to speak up. But I am in our leaderboard right now, which is at go.armory.io/contributors. So you can start to follow along now. And all right, so things that are being tracked there, GitHub event contributions. All that good stuff is detailed a little bit more here. So we're actually using BigQuery to grab the data about your GitHub contributions from a data set called GitHub Archive. Thank you, whoever puts together this data set, because it's great. So we're using BigQuery to query that periodically, and then that will help us update your total counts. One thing to pay attention to, and I get asked about a lot, and I'm happy to explain it every time, is that our leaderboard is getting it from the GitHub archive, and that GitHub archive data is aggregated every day. So there's a delay, there's a lag in how frequently it actually gets updated, and you won't see sometimes your full count for maximum of almost 2 days just because of the way that it's batched. So be a little bit patient to see these, and then also know that there is an exciting project going on right now that I will just give you a peek of right here. This is one of the hackathon projects if you want to get involved in it. We are building an application to track this using GitHub API so that you don't have to wait to see your totals and it's in real time, because of course I want to reward you in real time for all your contributions. But that's kind of on the medium burner right now while we get the ball rolling on this hackathon. All right. Blah, blah, blah. All right. So if you want to know more about how the points are being tracked, this explains it here, but back to what I was talking about, which is how do you get added to this leaderboard? So Levin is possibly adding name and GitHub handle to this, but how else do I get the data on this? I get it when you check in using this handy. So you can go to go.armory.io/gardener check-in. Yep. And that is also here on the, like I was in the getting started guide, and I'm going to go back to the getting started guide and try to be less of a spaz here. So we're here on this step 4, checking into gardening to be added to the leaderboard. So once you check into gardening, you're just going to put some basic information. Some of this information you have already provided in your registration, so forgive me, but providing it here allows me to automate a lot of what happens with the leaderboard, so I don't have to add you every time people join, and that makes this event more scalable. So thank you so much for your patience in re-entering a couple pieces of data twice. Tried to minimize it this time. All right, so when you check into this, your login will end up on this login sheet and your GitHub handle, and that will be used to, we've got a raw data here that tells us all the folks who have contributed to Spinnaker and Spinnaker Hackathon within the period that's marked. And then we are filtering that list according to people who are also logged into the event, also checked into the event, and then that helps us populate our final count of who's doing what. The leaderboard's pretty boring right now. I put myself on there as an example so that I can like test it. I'm the guinea pig. Hi, Abhishek, I can see your face. Yeah, I will remove myself, and I am definitely not the winner of this hackathon. So just disregard that for the moment while we try to make sure that it works. All right, back to the getting started guide, and let me know if you have any questions about the leaderboard or about the check-in or anything that we're talking about along the way. And so, all right, I've checked in. So
yeah, can you one more time explain to the access to the Excel file?
Yeah. So here, if you go, let me send you a link in the chat, and that might, if I can find the chat, I always have trouble with that with Zoom. Let's see. Can I do it? Yes, I can. All right. So I'm in the chat here. So if you click on this getting started place, that will take you to these steps that I'm going through, and I should make them larger, my screen here. And then click on either, so when you click on the check-in survey, that'll take you to a broken link, which I can fix right now live if you would like to see that. Let's see. Gardener. I can check it later. Oh, it's because I didn't use the FQDN. That should work. Update, broken link. You can see, folks, I'm kind of making this up as I go along, but that's part of what seems to make it fun for people. So thank you for being patient with me again. All right, so if you click on, let's make sure that that works now. Yeah, so when you click on the check-in link, that's how you're gonna give us your information, and that's gonna like populate you on the back end of the leaderboard. I think within a couple days, I'll probably automate what I'm asking you to do now, which is to go to the second link in step 4 and click on leaderboard. That'll take you to this go.armory.io/contributors, and that's going to show you our leaderboard, and that's where you can add your name. Does that answer your question, Levin?
I don't know.
You're like you talk a lot. I don't know.
I'm now.
Yeah, let me stick the link to the. I'll stick the link to the. I'll stick the link to the leaderboard in the chat too, just in case that helps. So go to go.armory.io. And you notice I have a lot of Armory short links here. That's because I work for Armory. Contributors, and they are helping me be here for you to contribute to this project. That's not a fully qualified link either, so sorry about that. All right. All right, so back to this, and I'll check in with you in a moment, Levin, and see where you're at.
Yeah,
all right.
I did it.
You added it?
Mm-hmm.
OMG. Okay. I don't know why it is that. Oh, you're in the check-in form. So let's just verify that that worked. Yes. Okay. So you're there, and there you are. And let's put you here. And I will fix the colors later. And let's put you here. So this is the part that I need to automate, and I will do it later when I'm not live on camera. All right, so let's go back to the getting started page. And also, Abhishek, if you would like to follow the same steps and check in and get yourself added to the back end of the leaderboard, I can add you to the front end, or you can add yourself to the front end like the way I just did, just pasting your name or typing your name and GitHub handle into those fields. All right, so good. Okay, so check your email for an invitation in the event area on Kiko chat. This is just to make triple sure that everybody is actually registered for the event and they're getting into Kiko. I won't belabor that because we've already talked about it quite a lot. The next thing that I want to talk about is, well, actually I'm gonna put a pause here because if you go down under getting engaged to step 6, it says looking to join a team. Check out these suggested steps, and these steps are going to be really important in the next kind of beginning of the week as we get rolling here, because a lot of stuff is going to start to happen as teams start to form and get excited about projects. So I am working on the initial team matching now, and I will be sending out the team matches probably before 1 a.m. Pacific, so within an hour about. You should see, so you should start to see messages in your Slack from me saying, hey, all of you folks were interested in this, you have complementary skill sets, project ideas around this might be interesting to you, and go. And that will allow you to jump into, so you'll see an invite to a team channel. So let me see if you'll be in Spinnaker Slack, and you'll see an invitation to one of these channels that says gardening-team. This is from the last event. So gardening-team, and it'll have kind of a generic number, and then you folks can, as you talk to each other, as you get to know each other and start to discuss projects, your first task is to come up with a team name. Go ahead and ping me so you can say, hey, hey, gardening admins, we thought of a team name. Yeah, right. So send me that message, and then I can rename your team name, because I don't think that you can. You're welcome to rename it yourself if you have the permissions, but as I recall, you don't. So I can go ahead and update that for you if you tag gardening admin, and then we will see you in the channel. And you probably want to do this. So gardening admin is myself and my colleague Nikima, and we are going to be working this event and helping you give you assistance that you need in Slack and elsewhere to collaborate with your team. So where was I? Yeah. So check out Spinnaker Slack to see if you've been added to a team channel. You should see within the next 24 hours or whenever you yourself register for the event and start to join, you'll see within a pretty short time, you'll see like that you've been invited to a Slack channel, or sometimes gardening admins, if we need more clarification on what your skills or interests are based on your registration information, we might just reach out to you and say, hey, are you interested in joining this team or this team? Which one sounds better to you? Or can you give us more information about this? So just look out for communications in Spinnaker Slack from us so that we can help get you onto the right team. And just one more note about teams. Teams at Spinnaker Gardening Days are pretty plastic. So you will put you, that's why I say an initial team matching, because you know everybody has different amounts of time that they can devote to the hackathon. Everybody has different interests, and things come up or things change or new ideas come up and get you really excited, or maybe someone that you work with joins the hackathon and you want to work with them. Lots of different things that can happen that can change the way that you view your initial team assignment. And also some folks receive an initial team assignment that is kind of a mistake, or they're not interested in that. That's totally okay. So when that happens, you can either DM me, and I am this person, Danilosaur. You can DM me, or you can just go into Gardening General and say, you know, hey, gardening admins, I need some help with my team match or something like that, and we will reach out to you and we can help you get on a new team. We can give you what are the options and all that good stuff. So don't feel tied to your team, but do get into your team if it's something that you're open to. And we did take the time to try to match you with folks who were interested in the same things and had complementary skill sets. So be friendly with your teammates and introduce yourself. Other options, like let's say your team wasn't your favorite, or you want to explore like what other kind of projects are out there, and maybe the team process is still ongoing, and or you're not hearing from us right away. Another option that you can do is in our Spinnaker Slack, each special interest, I have so many gardening related channels, I'm sorry, ignore that. Your Slack won't look like that, I promise. Hi, Sixth Sense, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. We're right in the middle of a walkthrough now. We're gonna post the video later so that you can catch up on what you saw at the beginning. But just stick with us, and if you have any questions, feel free to shout them out or type them in the chat. Okay, so here I am, and I am a member of several different SIG channels. So here's the AWS SIG, here's the continuous integration SIG, documentation SIG, Kubernetes, onboarding, ops, platform, security, Spinnaker's code, UI. I think there might be one or two more, but that's most of the SIG channels. So each SIG has a channel. And by the way, if you want to know exactly what all the SIGs in Spinnaker are, I can show you where that documentation is. So if I can get this, who else hates this thing? It's so annoying. So good thing I have my shortcuts here. So if I go to governance, if I go to Spinnaker governance, this is Spinnaker's governance repository, and it has a lot of helpful information about how the project is run. And we're also working to evolve this to make it even better for you as part of the contributor experience. So if I click on the special interest groups for Spinnaker, I see an index of all minted SIGs within the Spinnaker community. When I click on a particular SIG, I can find out information about who the leads are, what the meeting cadence is. There's a link here for the meeting, tells me when the meeting's happening, and a link to the meeting notes. Most of the SIGs have this. AWS SIG is a poster child for a SIG organization. And so, but what's missing here is the link to that Slack channel. So the Slack channel is the place where the SIG will asynchronously connect outside of the meeting times. And gardening is a perfect opportunity for you to jump into a SIG channel and say, hey, I'm kind of interested in this, or hey, SIG, I'm interested in joining. What kind of projects do you have on the table right now? Is there anything that you could recommend me to work on? And there will usually be very friendly folks in a SIG channel who will be willing to talk to you and talk to you about your skills. And you can also always mention the gardening admin in this kind of channel, and we might be able to like broker a connection. So feel free to ask us in one of these channels or also in gardening general. Yeah, so that's this option here that talks about creating a SIG team. So ultimately, like you go into the SIG channel, let's say you find out a really cool project and you convince someone in the SIG channel to be like, okay, I could work on that a little bit. Then you can always form a team. If you want to form your own team from people that you find either at your company, in your network, or in a SIG, just go ahead and shout out in gardening general, tag the gardening admin, hey, we're forming it, we'd like to form a new team. And we will set you up with the team space, team channel, everything that you need. So anytime you want to work on a project that's not listed in one of our resources, or you want to start your own thing, this is the perfect environment for that, and we'll support you. So just reach out to gardening admins and we'll help you. All right, the last thing is once I get all the team channels created tonight, you will actually be able to, if you want, join several team channels and just browse and see like what the activity is like, because every team channel and every team will have kind of different levels of engagement. So you can see that one like never really got off the ground. So actually it did get off the ground and we built that up, but it happened after the event. So yeah, so this kind of is another thing that you can do. Just join gardening-team-whatever channels. So you can find those by searching gardening-team and find all the channels that you want and go check them out. So that's another thing that you can do if you like haven't gotten a team assignment, or you're not happy with your team assignment and you're itching to find some information on your own. Those are some tips to help you do that. All right, so let's say you're in a team and now you need to figure out like, what do we work on, right? So this page is a starting point. First of all, if you're in a team, and this is why we try to encourage you to talk organically in the channel and introduce yourself and talk about what you're interested in or your ideas, because any idea that you have, that your team has, that's not on here, is still open for business. You can go ahead and work on that idea. You can get support working on it, even if it's not on this list. So this list is just a list of inspirational ideas or intentions that have already been expressed in the community. And a lot of these ideas came out of the last gardening days, but some of them are from our partners. Like we have some great folks on the AWS SIG on the ECS team who scoped out some issues that you could work on, projects that you could work on in ECS. We also have some super exciting challenge partners working with us in this challenge, including GitHub. So for GitHub, we have actually scoped out several different projects. We have 4 different GitHub project ideas, and then we also have 2 open source projects that were scoped by this team. And there's information about each one. So each one already has its own, oh, actually that's like a OSS one and it has less information. But let's say like for the status gating plugin, these are notes from engineers who got together and talked through scoping of this problem, talked about how we might be able to work on these issues, and gives you some ideas and places to start if you wanted to work on one of these project ideas. But again, don't feel like you're married to these project ideas. They're just helpful for you if you need them. And if your team is excited about working on them. There are lots of other ideas here, and notice that they're not all coding projects. So we do have a lot of great coding projects here, like ECS. We have some work on the Spin CLI that was ongoing from the last hackathon, and I think there's more work that could be done there. We've got GitHub Actions, which I mentioned, Sumo Logic. This project is not fully scoped yet. These are scoping notes from me. Which I have talked a little bit to folks at Sumo Logic about, but they are going to be jumping in to add more color to this to make it more useful for attendees and kind of work with you directly if folks are interested in building some integration with Sumo Logic. Let's see. There's some content projects. So I was talking about not all the projects are code. We have some great ideas for content projects. So here's some examples. And one of the easiest ways that you can create a really great content project is it's the Spinnaker Summit right now. And for example, tomorrow on Tuesday, we're starting out with our workshops, technical talks and business workshops that you can go to any one of those sessions. Almost all of them are free, and take notes, get engaged, pay attention to it, or use your Otter to record some of the stuff. And then you can write some content about that, write some content about the experience, and post that on your medium of choice. And we will talk more about how you would get credit for such thing and what that would look like too. But there's also some really exciting work that we will be doing with plugins. A lot of folks are going to be put on teams for like plugin curious folks. So here's some good ideas. If your team isn't already scoped to a particular plugin, you can take a look here. And this list is definitely going to grow and get even more exciting throughout this event as we come up with ideas. And part of this event too is just generating the ideas. So let's say you have an idea that's not on here. Maybe it's not fully formed yet. Just go ahead and submit a pull request to this page. And then even if you don't have time to work on the idea, a lot of times that happens. Folks come up with great ideas during this event, but they don't really have time to work on them. Stick it in here and maybe somebody else will pull it up and get really excited about it. And you could collaborate, or you could advise, or you could just watch from afar as other folks build on your great idea. So that's kind of an opportunity. So this is the place where folks can go once you're in a team, go check it out and start to think about what could we work on? What could we work on together as a team? And you're always welcome to work on things individually, but it's nice to work on a team. And oh, that's another thing. Let's say you're on a team and it's kind of crickets, or people aren't as engaged as you would like. There's a couple things that you can do. As I mentioned before, you can always mention the gardening admin or DM us and say, hey, I need some help with my team, or I need some help with my match. Can you help me? And we can have a DM conversation about it. But you can also just go into Gardening General and post and say, hey, I'm looking for a new member of my team. We need someone who, I need someone who can do React because I'm on the Java side and we're building a plugin. Like, if you feel stalled, try using the Gardening General channel as a way to recruit folks with the skills that you need. And don't be afraid to speak up and say what you're looking for. And not only will other folks see it, but also folks like me will see it, and we might know someone who we could plug right into your team and help you go forward. So yeah, That takes care of everything in 6, which I skipped straight to. So let's go back up to step, and we just talked about step 1. And then let's talk a little bit about getting up to speed on Spinnaker to contribute. So this links to our training page. Let me check that out. So, all right, here's the deal. I'm actually gonna go to the schedule for this, and we do have some live workshops that are being offered as part of this event. And as you can see, almost all these workshops are premium. So they came with your paid ticket if you purchased a ticket for the event, and that's $50. If you need a scholarship and you really want to take one of these classes, just reach out to me. And I think they added a link to, yeah, discounts. No, looks like there is no scholarship link on here yet, but I think it's like going to be on there soon. But in the meantime, just go ahead and DM me if you really want to attend those live workshops and you don't have access, and we can sponsor you to join the workshop, no problem. But let's say you don't really want to join the workshops, but you do want to get involved, and like, let's say you want to know how to be a new spin contributor, and you want to get the walkthrough from the wonderful Fernando, who designed our infrastructure for our sandbox environments for this event, but you can't make the session or you don't want to pay for the thing or ask for a scholarship. You have alternatives. So if you go to, see, if I'm on spinnaker.io, and I can link to this from the training page too. I think I always make a list of feature requests for myself for the documentation while I do this. So add some stuff to training page. And if you ever see any documentation that I really need to work on, you can always pull request it yourself, or you can ping me or Guarding Admin and Guarding General and be like, hey, this isn't really clear. Can you make it a little more clear? That feedback is good for me, and I won't be sad. I'll be happy. All right, so I'm here on spinnaker.io, which is soon to be refreshed, and I can't wait, by the way. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. And if I go to community, and I'll link these things too in the Slack so that you don't have to remember all these links. But I can go straight to new Spinnaker contribution walkthrough, and this is really awesome. Fernando updated this page just today with a full walkthrough of the entire session, step-by-step instructions of everything that you need to do to get set up to use the free compute that AWS is offering for you to use during this event. So essentially, we are using some Armory's infrastructure for a Spinnaker product that we build to set up an EKS cluster that is divided into namespaces that you won't have problems with other folks accessing, so your own dedicated namespace. And it provides a space for you to quickly install Spinnaker and get up and running, and it's easier than you think. So one really great shortcut, this really walks you through all the steps, but one really good shortcut is that you're using the Spinnaker operator to install Spinnaker. Quickest way to install Spinnaker, it's my favorite way to install it. So this will walk you through that process and the different configuration changes that you need to make to your kube config. And then the other like really cool cheat that we have introduced here is using telepresence so you'll have a couple, Spinnaker has a microservices architecture, right? So you need to have a variety of different services communicating to test your changes as you work on them, but you probably don't want to host all of the services on your local machine because it takes a lot of memory. So you can run most of your cluster in EKS in your dedicated namespace, clone the resources that you want to work on locally on your machine, and then use telepresence to manage the communication between those services so that they're all part of the same application. So that is really cool cheats that are in here. Not really cheats, but that's how we like to do our development environment at Armory, and we wanted to share that with you. So best part, this is a video of the workshop from last time. Same workshop that was offered that is part of the paywall today. Is you can watch the video, and then like let's say you're going through the video and you are going through the steps and you get stuck on something and you're kind of frustrated. Don't let that frustration stop you, and don't let the fact that you may not be in the paywall stop you from just going right into Guarding General. If I can get back there past all my giant list of channels. and say, hey, and like no one's going to answer right now because middle of the night for some of us in North America, but I can say, hey, on-call gardener, I am stuck on getting my environment set up, and maybe if you're a sweetheart, you can stick the link to whatever step that you're on. You're not on the session goals, but let's say you're having trouble installing Spinnaker. Just stick the link to whatever you're stuck on here and let the on-call gardener help you out. And that's how you can still get live help even though you're not signed up for the workshop. We have workarounds for you to support you so that you don't necessarily have to pay for the content if you don't want to do that. I hit enter and then I'm just going to delete that because I don't actually need help from the on-call gardener right now. I don't want to set up my environment tonight. I'm too tired. I'm going to do team matching instead. All right, so back to training. Yeah, so this I think is one of the most crucial pieces of training is this new Spinnaker contribution walkthrough session. There is also some other cool training that's happening. For example, we've got some plugin content here. So getting started with plugin development. This is being offered by Victor, who was one of our Google Summer of Code successful graduates from this past summer. He is leading this workshop about plugin development. We actually have some other great plugin content here. So on Thursday, Cameron is going to be teaching a plugins training workshop. And this will actually use the same environment that you set up in your new Spin Contributor workshop. So whether you're taking the new Spin Contributor workshop and you're setting up your environment in that session or after that session, or whether you're following along in the same way that it just showed you, you're going to use the same infrastructure to engage in this workshop, like this plugins training one, for example. There is plugin content as well on the site. So if you click on developing plugins at spinnaker.io, there are some pretty useful videos that talk to you about how to do it. Not all of these videos are totally up to date. So you will be hearing from me soon, particularly since we have some more plugin content happening Thursday. You'll be hearing from me soon and you'll see like some more resources, like what are the latest resources on plugins? I'll answer that question for you. And I'm actually going to write that down for myself too, like designate or identify the latest plugin resources that are not behind the paywall. We do have some plugin content from our last gardening days, so that is a good place to start. So if you click on the plugins training workshop, it'll take you here to our YouTube page. And this is the plugins training workshop that was streamed live on July 17th. This might be the most recent content, but I'll double check with our instructor about that. Yeah. And so that's some stuff about training. And what else do we have? All right, so that's what to do if you need help to getting up to speed on Spinnaker. And that on-call gardener epithet I showed you, you can always use that anytime you need technical help during the event. Just ping the on-call gardener, and hopefully shortly someone will be back with you to help you kind of walk through it and get you unblocked. That's our goal, is to get you unblocked during this event. All right, so need help getting started with a project idea or getting second. Oh, step 3, mention the on-call gardener if you need help. But this is just to say the on-call gardener can help you not just with like a technical issue, but let's say you want to talk about how to scope your project, or like you need to talk through the architecture, or you just like have an idea and you want to bounce it off of someone. You can totally bounce it off the on-call gardener when they are on duty. And you can ping them and you can treat Slack as asynchronous, and the next time someone's on duty, folks will add themselves to that group and then they can respond to you in kind. And then the other thing I was gonna say about that, give me a second. What was I gonna say? I don't know, I might have lost it. Yeah, so I will remember it soon, let's hope. Begin setting up your development environment. This is another, so if you're taking the new Spin Contributor workshop, that's gonna set you up with the development environment and you don't need to like do it again. And also following along asynchronously with the new Spin contribution walkthrough session, again, like that's gonna set you up with a development environment that's in our managed space that you can use for the duration of the event. with the free compute. However, some folks want to set up a development environment in their own space for whatever reason. Some of you already have development environments set up, bravo. But if you don't, there's also some good information here about how you might set it up. And there's a few different ways. So we have this lovely mini Spinnaker that uses K3s under the hood. And that is a pretty good tool to use for Spinnaker development. And there's a good, if slightly dated, walkthrough on how to set that up here from Armory engineer Lee Faust. And there are, so the AWS EKS and telepresence method, that's actually the method that we're using in the new Spin workshop. So that walkthrough will walk you through that whole thing. There's also some folks like there are a lot of folks at Netflix who do just install all of the services onto their computer at once and have a local Spinnaker instance in that way. And if you have the resources to do that, or that's your preference, you can absolutely do that. And there's a guide to setting it up. This is a section that I wrote like in April. And actually someone doing some review of this or telling me that it's redundant and needs to be removed, that would be a great pull request or suggestion that would get you points in this event. So think about that. I'm not sure the status of this one, but it doesn't use telepresence. It's like I don't think. Yeah, anyway, I won't look through that. I don't remember how I did this, but I will look through it and I'll add it to the project ideas page if it's really something that I need help with. All right, and see that. I had an idea of something that I could work on, you could work on. I'm just gonna go ahead and add it to the project ideas page, even if I don't totally know what it is, because that's gonna help us get the ball rolling on things that need to be worked on in the community, even if we don't have time to work on it ourselves. So I'm gonna make a note of that. Look at KDS Docker dev env method. All right, I got a list of 3 things. That's perfect. All right. So I'm trying to think, what else do I need to orient you to? Probably, does anyone want to talk about like points and prizes and challenges and stuff? Are folks interested in that? Do you like prizes? Do you like challenges? Want to hear about it?
Who doesn't like?
Who doesn't? Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. So, well, I'm trying to get to know our community, and some folks care about that stuff and other folks don't. So, but you know what? We also have like any prizes. If you want to substitute your prizes for charitable donation instead of prizes, like we're totally down to do that. And that was one of the questions that I asked folks when they registered, so that we can really give people the experience that makes sense to them. And also, if you just really would rather have like, I don't know, gift cards for everything, I think that was an option too. I got to look back at that. But all right, let's talk a little bit more about this stuff. Well, and you know what? I looked at the points thing. Let's talk about prizes first, and then we'll go back to points and be like, how do you get the prizes? So this is the most exciting part, I would say. So prizes. We have we have 2 tracks for winning stuff. I said 2, but that's 4. We have 2 tracks for winning stuff in this event. And there's an individual track and there's a team track. You don't have to choose. You're eligible for both. So first, I'm actually going to scroll down to the individual prize tier. And I showed you the leaderboard before, and that's what this leaderboard is all about, is setting yourself up to track, and we're setting you up to track these points as you accumulate them throughout the event. So everybody who gets 25 points will get this nifty thing. Everybody who gets 35 points will get a Raspberry Pi Zero. If you get up to 60 points, you get a Sphero Mini, which is a really cool programmable ball toy tool thing. Super neat, and it's been a big hit, so we added that one again. We added a new prize for 100 points this time. It's this really cool drone that I found that is also kind of about teaching you programming and supposed to be great for kids and adults. And it was at my price point. So I will look for some great feedback on this drone and how fun it is. And notice these are all individual prizes. So this isn't a prize that you would be expected to split with someone else. It's just a fun toy for you to enjoy as a thank you for all your contributions. And then the top prize tier, you actually get to choose or switch it up, so to speak. So you can get a Nintendo Switch Lite. Hopefully they're still in stock. I think I can get some at my local store here in Portland, Oregon. But like, let's say a Switch Lite isn't your thing. I also put some other comparable prizes that you could choose. And if you get to 150 points, like, we're going to reach out to you on Slack, and that's how it's not automated. Like, we'll just reach out to you on Slack and we can talk about what you want, and you can be like, oh, this looks cool, and then we'll go from there. And that'll be in November. So you don't even have to think about what you want now, unless that's what gets you up in the morning, and then absolutely think about getting those 150 points. Don't game the system, because that's not going to work. But you know, slow and steady wins the race, and you can contribute throughout the month and get one of these awesome prizes. So that's the individual points. And remember, that's not just GitHub events. That's also these content and web contributions, which, by the way, includes Stack Overflow answers. So if you submit a quality Stack Overflow answer and you post that in Gardening General, oh yeah, that reminds me, that's what I didn't talk about, all the different ways to earn points. So I need to go back to that. I'm gonna put a pin in that. But like, a quality Stack Overflow answer, that's worth 1 point. So if you do 5 Stack Overflow answers, there's 5 points right there. So super multifaceted ways to earn points in this event. And there's also a bonus column here for special bonuses. It'll come up throughout the event. You'll see something in Gardening General, or you'll be on a call. That's one of the reasons why you want to stay engaged in Gardening General and stay engaged in our events, because there will be opportunities to earn prizes from that. All right. So back to the prizes. So those are the individual prizes. Now, what about the team challenges? Note that any contributions that you make while you are working on a team project, like, those are going to count as individual points, but they will also help your team work towards winning one of these challenges. So we have several challenges that we're offering now. Some of the challenges are a little bit vaporware right now because the sponsors haven't been able to update them yet, but like, stay tuned. This event is kind of growing organically, and we have some SDLC partners who are super excited to get engaged, and I'm just waiting on a pull request. And you've probably been in those shoes before, so you can feel me. All right, so here we are in the challenges. Yeah. So all monetary prizes are going to be awarded as Amazon gift cards. So that's a super easy, divisible way to let you share the prize package with your team. We definitely upped the ante with the prizes this time. So for the Spinnaker Challenge, we're offering 3 or more prizes. The first prize is $1,000. The second prize is $750, and then honorable mentions will receive $500. All of that is divisible among teammates. So it's $1,000 total for the whole team. And then remember, you're also going to get individual prizes for whatever you contribute. And then, so we've got, this is for Spinnaker core contributions, bug fixes, plugins, or other types of extensions, or some kind of feature growth. And note that the projects don't have to be actually merged. We would love to be doing live merging into Spinnaker, right, like as part of the event. And that's a kind of a pipe dream for me someday, but it's not something that we can necessarily do right now. So if you are building something, but it hasn't been merged, that doesn't mean that you're not eligible. So, and if you have any questions about that or concerns, you can just reach out to Gardening admins and we'll talk to you about that. Share your Spinnaker challenge. This one is more about content than it is about code, and that's awesome. So for this challenge, create and share video, blog, and social content for the Spinnaker community. The best content is going to get, again, $1,000. Second prize, $750, and we can have as many honorable mentions as make sense. Sometimes we don't have any honorable mentions, and that's okay too. We'll just see how it shakes out. You never know what people are going to be excited about working on. We also have the super exciting GitHub challenge, which I already gave you a tour of. So this expert suggestions takes you right back to that same GitHub challenge, which actually, no, this is a challenges page. So the challenges page will scope out the stories. So for example, Sumo Logic challenge, it says stay tuned. I should actually update that link, hold on. Update Sumo, because I do have like a stub page for that on challenges. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for future growth on this page. I love laughing at my own jokes. Okay, so the GitHub challenge, we're offering 2 prizes for that because we have so many great ideas that are scoped out. And you know, like if a prize again, this is a guideline for how we would like to reward people, but and it's, I mean, this is an implicit agreement that we will at least offer these prizes to qualifying projects. But if a amazing GitHub integration gets built and it really should take one of the prizes for the Spinnaker challenge, like that could happen. So I don't want to say that that we're not super excited about a GitHub integration, because we totally are. We also have Sumo Logic challenge. So for a Sumo Logic, New Relic, and AWS challenge, we're only currently offering one prize package, subject to change, but we'll offer at least one for eligible projects if anything is built. So how, you might ask, will these be awarded? That's something that we are changing a little bit in this event, and hopefully this is going to work well, because in the past we've required folks to join the demo session. I would still love for everybody who can join the demo session to join, because the more people we have at the demo session, the more fun and like just psyched we get. But we also know that everybody's in different time zones and has different stuff. So our demo session is happening on Thursday, November 12th at 9 a.m., 9 to 10:30 a.m. Pacific. So you can either join at that time, or you could also make a little video or some other medium for a great demo of what you built, and you could post it in Gardening General and say, here's my demo. You know, show it at the session. And as long as you post that before 9:30 on that same day while we're doing the demo, we'll be able to show it to the judges and you're still eligible. So you don't have to make the demo in order to submit a prize. Just want to make that clear. But I mentioned the judging there, and I want to be a little more clear about that. So the way we award the team prizes will be by using an anonymous judging process through Google Forms. Pretty simple. So we'll create a demo survey. I'll kind of have it created to prep for the demo session, and then we'll add stuff or change stuff as we need based on what people submit and what they show. And then we'll finalize it at the end of the judging session. And everybody who has volunteered as an on-call gardener, the event organizers, so that's Nikima and myself, and anyone else who joins and decides to become an event organizer. If you want to do that, let me know. We will all be voting along with our SDLC partners, right? Because we have challenges from Sumo Logic and from these other places. So those folks will also join our judging panel and help us decide on the winners for the different categories. So we'll take the survey, we'll vote, and then we'll award the divisible team prize packages. If we have time, we'll do it at the end of the demo session. Usually we do have time. If we have an utter outpouring of amazing work, we might not have time to do it in that session, so we would probably schedule a session later in the day, or we can also always offer the awards asynchronously over Slack and then kind of announce them at the end of the summit in case you are able to join that. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about I can stop talking and like take a breath. That would be okay, wouldn't it?
Yeah, do you mind going through the chat and maybe you can answer some of our questions?
Yeah, have you been asking questions all along?
Yeah,
Jeez.
I didn't want to
7
interrupt you.
questions.
So.
Oh, yeah. No, please interrupt me. And also, please, to self, stop so that people can ask questions, and don't tell people to ask questions and then not check the questions. Good catch. All right. So is there a SIG for documentation in general? Yes, that is a great question. And I happen to be on that SIG. That was the first SIG I joined as part of the Spinnaker community, and is a great group. So the way that we get into the documentation SIG is we just go to the SIG documentation channel, and it's right here. So I can say, and who asked that question? That was, I think that was you. Yeah, so I can invite you to this channel, or you can join. You can paste your handle into the chat if you want me to add you. But yeah, just join this. And the co-leads are Brian Lee of Armory and I believe Dave Dorbin of Google, two great people who are very nurturing of new contributors. So the DocSig is a great place to get started if you're not sure where to get started, or you want to start making your first contributions, and documentation is a great way to do that. So definitely check that out. Awesome. And there are, so one, just, I'll try not to be too tangential for too long. Famous last words. But if you go to the project ideas page, you can see that we only have actually one strict documentation idea listed here now. And that's to document the Circle CI integration. That would be an easy commit. I have asked the DocSig, my folks at the DocSig, to add any new things that come up on here. So we may see more of this grow. But there's also, I think, some hidden things that you can do. So let's see, where's the code labs? You know what? Code labs aren't on here. Okay, so hold on. Add code labs to docs, and then that reminds me of one more thing that I want to show you. I'm not forgetting that you have more questions, but I'm just going to take a second and click on this thing so that I don't forget to show you when it's time to show you. Oh my God, is that going to be a broken link? Okay, I will think about that later. But I can go to spinnaker.io and I can pull this up, and then back to your questions. All right, is there any relationship between the SIG and the gardening teams in terms of communication in the Slack channel? Or can I go join any channel? Yeah, so first of all, you can definitely join any channel that you wish. If you want to have a gardening team, it kind of depends. Like, if you want to use the so the reason that you want to have a team channel, and this I haven't really explained, and you know, I don't know if it makes it, you know what? It doesn't make it, so okay. In the last events that we've done, the reason that it's really important to have a team channel is because with your team channel, you put the meeting link for the team like right here, and that way everybody can kind of access the meeting link and the channel is like the team's space to collaborate. So having a dedicated team channel is a good idea because it gives you a dedicated space to collaborate just with your gardening team. However, if you have a lot of support from the SIG channel, I don't know how annoying it would be to have people working on a project in a SIG channel. Probably not that annoying. If it's related to what the SIG cares about, they're gonna probably love having folks in the channel collaborating on something. So don't feel like you're stuck with a team channel if you wanna be in a SIG channel and collaborating with a SIG. And one of the other reasons why it doesn't matter as much, and that's what I was talking about before I got distracted, is that as I start to make these team assignments, each team is going to have a team space. So you can actually see here in the, well, where's my, yeah. So you can see here in the team area, like each team is gonna have a team space to not only will you have, so you have your own video. So instead of having those special links in the Slack channel, every team is gonna be able to join in the team space and use the video chat whenever they want to do team meetings. So that's a good reason to have a team space in here. And at the very least, if you don't have a team channel, let the gardening admins know that you're a team so we could create a space for you on the platform so you have a good place to meet. And another thing that you can do here is take notes. And we're not gonna be doing anything with these notes or creeping on you or anything, but putting some notes here will give folks the opportunity, like let's say I haven't joined a team or I'm not sure about the team that I'm on and I just wanna browse. This is a place for you to write notes for people who might want to join your team and tell them what you're working on, tell them who you're looking for, anything that you want to write here is a good way to communicate with anyone who might want to check out what your team is doing.
So how do we join this team on, you know, the Wiko chat website?
Yeah,
or?
That's a good question. So I don't know, but I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that like when I'm in, yeah, it seems like as soon as like when I click into it, then it shows my photo there. So I actually don't think, as far as I know, that the teams are like assigned. It's just kind of, if you're in the team, then you're on the team. And like, this is what I mean, like the teams for this event are quite fluid. So at the end of the event, we may just have sort of a thing where like we'll find out who's on the team, who worked on the project, who contributed to the project that's being demoed, and like we'll divide the prizes that way, not based on any like specific things that's like this is who's on the team and this is who wasn't. So if you contribute to a team and you're in there, then you'll get rewarded, if that makes sense. So you're helping me think of questions that I haven't even thought of and answered myself, so that's helpful. Let's like okay. Yes, so you can join any channel or gardening thing that you want. And in past events, we've had folks who join multiple teams, and some of that's hedging, but some of it was folks who wanted to contribute to multiple teams and did so. So whatever works for you. And if you're getting, if you're having trouble with your teammates or you're having trouble with your team match, just reach out to us and we can help you. Awesome free compute. When should we follow and finish this walkthrough session? That is a good question. So you should, my preference would be for you to follow it and finish it as soon as you can, because the sooner that you are up and running with I'm not going to navigate away from that page because then I'll forget to look at it. If you, here, I'll just duplicate this. So if you follow this guide and you set up your environment, it kind of brings you one step closer to being able to contribute to your team, because you'll have that development environment up and running and your team doesn't necessarily have to wait for you to get your environment all ready to go. So that's one of the reasons why I think you should do it. And yeah, should we get this done right away or can I get it done by someday X? There's no requirement, and I think he left, so maybe I'll wait until he comes back to finish that, but there's no requirement to get it done by a specific day. And you know, if folks join and are contributing like towards the end of the event, like that's okay. You're still eligible for the prize as long as that's cool with the rest of your team. These are some awesome prizes. Now I'm reconsidering my preference for donation. Ha! Okay, so good questions in there. And did anyone else have questions before I go forward with, and I probably almost ready to wrap up, but I had a couple other things I wanted to talk to you about. I know I'm over. Oh, you're back. Okay, so I'll just say what I said again very quickly. No, I talk fast all the time. There's no specific day that you have to get it done by to be eligible. Just know that you'll be best equipped to contribute to your team if you have a development environment up and running. And that's true for most teams. And but if you're able to join at any point in the event and add value to your team, then your contributions will be considered as valuable to the team and you're part of the team. So no strict requirements there, but jump into it as soon as you can. That's my answer. All right, so I think the last thing that I want to talk about, let me just review this. I think I really got most of the stuff handled here. Talk to you about the schedule, right? You know where all the stuff is on the schedule. Here's the complete schedule. I'm back to this page again. And the hackathon stuff is all the yellow events. That said, there's a lot of other cool events happening. So we got technical sessions happening as part of the Spinnaker Summit. These are all free. So feel free to join any of these sessions. You can create content that's about these sessions and get points for it. Great way to cross-pollinate with our community. But if you want to see the hackathon sessions, like for example, we're going to be doing a stand-up every day except for Fridays. Also, stay tuned for what we're going to be doing instead of stand-up on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Monday mornings. We're going to have a period during each of those weekend blocks that you can be eligible to earn some extra sweet stuff, like probably Uber Eats or Amazon gift cards for checking in with the community and telling us what you're working on or what your progress has been. If you stand up and you have something to stand up and you check in with us during those times that we're not having a stand up, you will be rewarded. And I will be adding some documentation about that ASAP. Add doc about non-stand-up stand-ups. This is going to be such a long video for the folks watching at home. You're welcome. All right, so let's see. Where was I? I clicked on this a bunch of different times and I have to back button it, sorry. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show you is this what to hack page. And this is duplicated somewhere else in the repository, I think, but this is a good place to look for it. So of course, you one of the first ways to contribute is to hack on your team's project as part of our challenges, whether that's technical or non. Challenges give you great fodder. You'll be working on things that are in that project ideas list, and that's a great way to earn points. But there's other ways to earn points, and you don't have to do it all with your team, but you can also work on anything with your team that you want to, whether or not it fits into the scope of a challenge or not. we'll find ways to reward you as long as you're working on some cool stuff. So we've got a list of beginner-friendly issues for Spinnaker tagged in GitHub. There actually aren't a ton of issues on here, and there isn't always a lot of variety on what's covered. But part of what we're going to be doing this month is trying to encourage as many folks as possible in the project to scope more issues as beginner-friendly so that we can start to give people more low-hanging fruit to work on. So these are great. This is a great place to get started, is this list, which is linked in this What to Hack page, and I will put that in the chat. Stop by SIG documentation channel, we talked about that. Create a custom Sage plugin and familiarize yourself with using the framework. We've got the plugin creators guide as a link to some doc in another area on the page. We also have this developing plugins area. And I think you remember the plugins training that I showed you that's on our YouTube channel. It's in training and plugins here. So if you click on that, that'll talk you through creating your own custom Sage plugin as kind of a starter project. And you can do that inside the Spinnaker Hackathon organization in your own repository. You should all be able to create your own repositories because I had you all added to the org. And then that'll count for points. Even if you're not like doing anything that's productionalizable, if you're playing with it, that counts. Oh no, bar of death. Now I can't go. Yeah? There we go. Okay. Open issues, comment on issues and pull requests to provide context, and review PRs in the Spinnaker organization. This is huge, and it might seem like you don't have much to offer, but maybe you do. So go to the Spinnaker organization and go to the Spinnaker project. And this is where we keep all of our issues. You can go to issues and browse the issues to see if there's anything that you're interested in or something that you could provide context on, like maybe a bug that you experienced or some knowledge that you have of the integrated service. You might be able to add value here. So take a look at the issues to see what's going on in our community, what's stale and needs someone to pick it up, etc. That's a great way to earn some points. And we link to it there, but I should probably provide clearer instructions on what you're actually supposed to click on. Clear inst on issues. I do this thing where I read stuff aloud while I'm writing it and it's lame. Okay, so let's go back to what to hack. All right. We talked about Stack Overflow, and if you want an easy way to see like what could I answer on Stack Overflow, we provided that for you here. So click questions tag Spinnaker on Stack Overflow. You got a whole list of questions with 0 answers. Some of them have a fair amount of views. This is something that's low-hanging fruit, and it's so important for our community to be able to go on Stack Overflow and find answers to their issues that come up. And I mean, you know how you feel when you find that Stack Overflow answer for that really specific problem that you've been banging your head against. It feels so great. So help give other people that feeling by answering some questions on Stack Overflow. Oh yeah. So what if you answer a question on Stack Overflow? How do you get points for that? That's a question that I haven't answered yet. And there's some information about it here in the points section. So where I go to points tracking and I go to Slack tracking for content contributions here, this kind of walks me through how to do it. So for a Stack Overflow issue, you're not going to do step 1 and initiate in your repository because it just doesn't make sense to initiate a Stack Overflow answer into a repository, I don't think. But you are going to publish the content in its public destination because you're going to go to Stack Overflow and you're going to have that answer. So all you have to do to get a point for that is take a screenshot of it and then post your screenshot. So I can do just a sample here. So take a screenshot and then I'll go into Gardening General or whatever rando channel I'm in right now. I'm going to go into Gardening General. I'm going to paste my screenshot and I'm going to say, hey, I created some content. So answer. You'll say something more specific. My GitHub handle is Danilsaur. This is always helpful if you can add that. So I'm going to hit enter and then I'm going to do one more thing. And this is really important to get me the points that I want. So I'm going to react to my own post. I'm going to click on the reaction. I'm going to look up the gold coin. I'm going to mark it with the gold coin. And after I mark it with that gold coin, if I go right over to the leaderboard, I should see, yes, now I have 3 points for content and web contributions. Now, again, these are phony contributions and I will find out if you do that. I will be able to tell, and I will not qualify you for points for contributions that aren't real. But this is a super easy way for me to count and review all the submissions. So if you want to see specifically how your content submissions show up, we're using a Zapier integration to grab them from Slack. So you can see this message that I just posted. It's here. I've got a link to the message. Take me right there. Take me there in Slack. You don't actually have to show you that happening to you, but I can show you. So that's how those points can get counted, and that's not just for Stack Overflow answers, that's for all content. And if you look here, you can see that if you're making some meaty content, like if I'm gonna post something on Medium about Spinnaker, you should get a lot of points for that, not just 1 point. So what you can do is actually initiate something like a blog post or a script for a video, initiate in the Spinnaker Hackathon organization as a repository. You'll get points for all the commits that you make to that. And then as the cherry on top, once your content is published, then you can add it in the screenshot and add it to Gardening General so that everybody can see it, mark it with that gold coin, and then you get your points for creating that content. Yeah, so any questions about that? And let me look in the chat. I don't see anything in the chat. Network is choppy, and yes, understood pseudo, which is LOL. Okay. Yeah. What questions do you have? All right. Shout them out if you have them. Other things you can do. Ooh, Spinnaker tips. Let's see if that channel actually still exists, because there's some things that are outdated and I need to. I think that one's still around though. But yeah, Spinnaker tips. So if you have a Spinnaker tip, you can share it here. And our plan, we've never gotten any of these from the hackathon, but if we ever do get any good Spinnaker tips here, we're planning on featuring them on Spinnaker.io. So if you want your Spinnaker tip featured on Spinnaker.io, even if it's a kind of a beginner tip, pop it in here, mark it with the gold coin, and you will be rewarded. And actually, I need to add that channel. Add channels to Zap. Don't you love Zapier? It's super easy to do that. Okay, I'm almost done with this. You can also get points for signing up for the newsletter. I can check those. I'll check them kind of periodically, probably weekly, and I'll add some points for folks who sign up for the newsletter. You can share something in the Spinnaker news channel in Spinnaker Slack, so Spinnaker News here, share some kind of news item. We got a really great one from Andres in April, but we try to send out these Spinnaker newsletters to our mailing list whenever we can. So if you've found cool content online about Spinnaker, then go ahead and curate it for us in this channel and mark it with that gold coin, and then you'll be rewarded. And what else do we have here? Set up a Spinnaker development environment. I'll totally throw you a point if you set up your Spinnaker development environment and you mark it with a gold coin, or say, hey, gardening admin, check out my development environment. I'm ready to go. That's fodder for a point. So post that in Gardening General to show us your progress. Updating library version dependencies is such an underrated way to contribute. You can ask in Gardening, I need help, or you can always tag the on-call gardener in Gardening General if you need help knowing like how to get started on that. But that's a super great way to add value to the project, and it's low-hanging fruit. This is something that I need to add to the projects page, but I wanted to show it to you here. So this is a great way to contribute to documentation. There are some Spinnaker code while also getting your feet wet with Spinnaker. So there are a bunch of code labs here on Spinnaker.io, and many of them are quite outdated. So what you can do is just run through a code lab or start running through a code lab, and post in Gardening General when you get stuck on something, or even if it's extensive, like you can make a pull request to the code lab, or you can actually file an issue against this site and file an issue in that Spinnaker area that I showed you, and say, hey, this code lab is broken in this spot. You'll get points for filing the issue, and you can also potentially help to fix it, and that will get you more points. But you don't even have to help fix it to get some points. You just need to help us vet those code labs. So that's a really good way to add value for beginners. We already talked at length about this one, dropping into SIG channels to ask what they're working on to learn more. It's a great way to get to know your fellow contributors, introduce yourself, and start to network with these other professionals who are working on Spinnaker. The last way to add value is another one that no one has ever done, but I can't wait for someone to do it. And that is host an event in gardening days. Let's say you want to do like a quick tutorial on something that you know how to do that you think would help the community. Or you want to do something totally unrelated to this. I, for a period, was trying to do yoga during these events that no one cared about, but this is the type of session that I might want to offer as a gardening session. Be like, come do some stretches with me. And Rosalind, put me on the calendar. Just mention gardening admin, say, hey, I really want to offer this session. These are the dates I'm available. Will you put this on the schedule? Probably odds are I'm going to say yes, and we're going to be super excited to host you, offering some cool color and exciting activities to your fellow participants. What questions do you have after I just talked for more than an hour? Anything? Anything?
Does my tip in the Spinnaker tips count? I just posted one.
Oh, there's nothing in the Spinnaker tips. Oh, yeah. So did you say, are you meaning you're not in the leaderboard yet? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just asked if the kind of tip I just posted counts.
Oh, if you, okay. So this isn't, well, let me see. If you're confused how to join the Zoom sessions for Spinnaker Summit 2020, you know, I have to think about that one because this isn't one that we would post on. That's a good question. This isn't one that we would post on spinnaker.io because it's too localized to this event and it won't really like help anyone with their Spinnaker experience. This is something that I would suggest to try to brown nose your way into some points for contributions like that. Sorry for the expression. The way to get some points for stuff like that would be to actually to post that in gardening general and say, hey, this is something that I struggled with when I was trying to engage in the event. And so you never know when you do something like that and someone like me or another gardening admin might just go on there and add a gold coin to it to be like, you know what, that was really helpful to the rest of the community who's trying to engage in this event. So I think for the Spinnaker tips, cool. Nice try.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere, exactly. So that's why, like, you know, I'm probably gonna be handing out the bonus points left and right because I love my fellow contributors. I love folks who are trying to get started in this community, and I want to support you. What other questions do you have?
Are there any you know, how do I say? I know for sure there are past events and there are lots of resources and recorded sessions. But are there any specific that you would recommend, or not just you, but the gardening PMs would recommend? Yeah, this session from say last year was really awesome, or maybe the session from 2 years ago was really awesome if you are into Spin CLI, so that you know maybe we can watch them.
Yeah, so that's a good question. And one thing to know is this event series is quite young. So we had our first Spinnaker Gardening in April of 2020, and we had another one in July, and then this is our third. So I think like, and but there was still a lot of valuable content. So I can say yes to your question while I also let you know that it's a pretty young event. So if I go to the Spinnaker YouTube here, yeah, check out the Spinnaker YouTube, and I'll put the link to the Spinnaker YouTube. Oh God, this image is just heinous. I really need to update that. And oh, there's me talking. Don't listen to that. All right. So if you're here on the Spinnaker YouTube channel, you can see there is a Spinnaker training playlist. And we have the building Spinnaker plugins, which I think I showed you linked on spinnaker.io. That's a pretty good training series if you're interested in plugins. It's walkthrough. It's a little dated, so there's more current content that I'll show you in a minute. But I think this Spinnaker training series is quite good. So these are Armory engineers and sales engineers who are just talking through open source Spinnaker basics, like your first pipeline for Kubernetes. They go through the AWS quick start. They review some Spinnaker concepts. And what I like about these sessions is they're varying in length. So the Spinnaker concepts one is only 20 minutes long. So it's a great thing for newbies. Introduction to operating Spinnaker, that's super useful. I believe that's with Alice Chen, who knows more about operating Spinnaker than almost anyone in the world. There's Advanced Spinnaker Lab 1, which talks to you about using spell and artifacts. There's a session on custom stages that's been talked about at a lot of past Spinnaker summits, but this one is kind of a training session.
Really cool and helpful.
Okay.
Would
Yeah,
there be
cool.
repeat of these sessions, or we can like? I mean, I just want to make sure that I
Yeah.
don't just watch the sessions on my own and then look at the calendar schedule and I'm gonna just see the repeat of what happened in
Yeah,
April.
that makes sense. And that's a good question. So there's nothing that I can think of that's like one-to-one, these are the same sessions. But I will tell you that, for example, like if we click here, so first of all, I would recommend browsing through all of the technical sessions. If you're interested in like technical training about Spinnaker, filter this to technical sessions. And also, by the way, you can do this in your time zone so that you can see it in a non-crazy pants way and look at it at your real local time. But click on these and look through and see what's being offered. And I will tell you that, for example, if I filter instead by live workshops, some of the workshops that are being offered here are like the same ones that were offered. Actually, you know what? Did those sessions not make it onto the... No, I don't think so. Okay, anyway, some of these sessions are are delivered by some of the same people who offered these, but I think it's really like there's not a ton of overlap. The content that's being offered now in the summit is like newer, but this stuff isn't that old. It's just from April, and I think these things are more, so this is more like training for like basic training for operators and like getting started with Spinnaker, and even might be helpful for end users. And then let's see. This is kind of a mixed bag. So there's two at least about plugin development. There's the new Spin contributors walkthrough, which we talked about at length. There's some good trainings from OpsMX folks about extending Spinnaker with custom jobs. So you can see that's a little bit of overlap, for example. So extending Spinnaker via custom jobs is covered live here behind the paywall. But then if you go here, you can see custom stages, which actually I don't think that's the same thing, custom jobs and custom stages. I need clarification on that. But there might be some overlap, but TLDR, I just talked a lot. I don't know. I don't have a good like map for you on.
Maybe
what?
some updates included in the next coming session.
Yeah, and I would say like I would always err on the side of like go to a live session that's being offered now, because all these videos that I'm showing you on YouTube, like these are things that you can look at anytime. And also though, do know that like most of the content that's on the schedule will eventually end up on the Spinnaker YouTube channel, but you'll have to wait for that, and then it won't be live, so you won't be able to like ask your questions and engage. Even these technical sessions, these are all pre-recorded, but the speakers will actually be live in the sessions in chat. So you can ask them all of your questions more so than you would be able to if it was a live talk, because they'd be talking, but they'll be there and free to answer your questions and engage with you while you're watching these technical sessions. So yeah, I think I recommend looking at the stuff that's on the summit schedule now that's live, because this is the most current content. It'll also give you the opportunity to network with other folks and be with the people who are also working on it right now. What other questions do you have? Anything else? What's my team match? Who has that question? I do. Can't wait to. I'm really excited about the team matches because we have a great array of people signed up for this event. I know we're just going to get more folks like signed up and engaged as we go throughout the month. So it's pretty exciting. I think we're going to have some really cool projects that come out of this event. You mark my words. Are you folks?
Sounds great.
Sounds good? Well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for joining me. I'm so happy to host you in our platform, and if you're interested, it'll be the same session, maybe a little shorter. We'll see, maybe not. Tomorrow morning, and I'm also going to post a video of this now-ish or whatever I can find the video, so that folks watching at home can check it out too. And I hope to see you at our next stand-up after that, which will be again at this time on Wednesday. And join me in Gardening General between now and then, and look for that team match, because it's actually coming now. It's actually on its way to you as we speak. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll see you all soon. Don't ghost me, because now you've all met me and I'm really excited to work with you. So don't let me down.
Yeah.
And I'll try not to let you down. Okay.
Have a good
whatever time of day it is. You too. Bye.
Bye.